Hey everyone, today we are going to go over the Lucifer skill leaks. So Lucifer, the first skill, basically the active skill or ultimate, whatever you wanna call it, is deals up to 316% magic damage to frontline enemies, casts in round 2, cooldown 3 rounds, pretty normal standard stuff, and the unlock at 8 stars is basically damage increase to 379%. Frontline casting is always an issue because you can practically counter it with just Elmer. Simply deploying Elmer in the front line will basically counter any hero that targets frontline. This was mainly issue for Shang when she released. She was easily countered by a frontline Elmer because she couldn't simply kill him as long as there was enemy in the backline. But back then she didn't have a Phantom Illusion effect, so she couldn't steal, and she was permanently stuck on him, which could also very likely happen to the Lucifer. But the main skills are pretty much the secondary skills nowadays. The main skills are the passive effects nowadays for heroes. Nobody really cares about the numbers or which frontline or backline target it is. Most people only come for the passive effects, oath effect, and the rune skill effect. Her second skill, which is actually called skill in the game, so it's active, but it's called skill. So the first is ultimate, the second is skill. So deals up to 126 magic damage to frontline enemies, and at 9 stars it's 151. This is a very low percentage. This won't deal any damage really. It will deal some damage because just the buffs are insane in the seasonal content, so the damage is over the roofs. But the damage numbers are so low that it won't really matter. So basically nothing important in the active and in the ultimate and in the skill part. Let's get to the interesting part, which is her first passive skill. So this skill unlocks at 6 stars and it goes like this. At the start of the battle, Lucifer applies Contained to the enemy's summoned position. If you don't know it, the summoned position is the 6th position, which is right here, which I'm pointing out in the battle. So this right here is the 6th position where basically heroes steal enemy heroes or something, or pets get summoned, or basically anything that goes to the extra team is summoned in the X position. What does that mean? That means that Lucifer basically forbids enemy heroes from stealing your heroes, and it also forbids from pets being summoned. How will this play out? I have no idea. Does the pet from someone like Ascended Bastet summoned before this effect takes action or after? Because it wouldn't make really any sense if it was after, but I also can see it being after. So we will just simply have to wait and test this out. It also says for each position contained, Lucifer attack, defense and max HP are increased by 50%, which at 8 stars goes up to 100%. But it's really weird because Lucifer is going to increase her own attack, defense and max HP by 100% on top of what, the base stats or something. I'm not really sure how it's coded, like on top of what is she increasing her stats, which is pretty tricky thing that we will have to figure out on the release. But another tricky thing is for each position contained. That doesn't make any sense because it specifically says enemy summon position, making it unusable. So it specifically says it will contain that single position. And then the text goes like for each position, but the text doesn't mention if the contained gets triggered every round and it contains more and more slots or not. So this is completely blank. Like there's so many questions you could ask about this skill that are not answered in the text that simply will have to be tested and seen how they work. So it's pretty irrelevant to talk about, but just assuming that it's containing one extra slot, it will be good for the first few rounds. But when heroes start dying, the Phantom Illusion effect can trigger on other slots as well, which means that Aphrodite, Shang, Wu Zetian, Lancelot, whoever will still be able to steal on the slots that get emptied, but they will not be able to steal in the initial round, which is basically blocked because you have 5 heroes and the X slot will be blocked. This might not be true in the Foggy that has 3 to 4 slots taken while the rest are free, so this might be useless in that type of Foggy. We again have yet to see how it works, which will be fun to test around and really interesting to see. But as of right now, the skill on its own sounds really interesting. Lucifer buffing herself by 100% for the contained slot, and basically forbidding enemy heroes to use it could potentially hurt someone like Leandra, could hurt someone like Ascended Bastet, and especially the Phantom Illusion heroes. Now on to the next skill that unlocks at 7 stars. So when Lucifer is alive, she continuously provides 50% of her attack, defense, max HP to all allied units on the battlefield. At 9 stars, this goes up to 100%, so we will just assume it's at 100% all the time. So when Lucifer is alive, this means, I believe, that if she dies, this effect won't be triggering anymore. So when Lucifer is alive, she continuously provides. How is this coded? Continuously. This doesn't make sense because everything is action coded in this game. And if you use the word continuously, that means non-stop you're providing something. So if I increase the HP of Lucifer mid-round, does that also increase the HP of other allies because it's continuously? Or does it trigger the next round? Or is it only from the base stats? As you can see, this also has many not answered questions that are very, very important for the rating of the Lucifer herself. So it's yet again left to be tested by ourselves because nothing is really explained how it works in here in this simple text that has quite literally no words in it. It's just saying, hey, I have pledge on me that also gives you defense at max HP and might be slightly stronger than Hellas or is definitely stronger than Cleopatra's, but it's also not a pledge, so you can pair me with a pledge hero like a Trupus. But yeah, overall I do think that Lucifer has insane potential. I can see her with Dahlia, so swapping Lucifer and Dahlia frontline so you can double the buffs that Lucifer receives and also buff her from Dahlia and then give her someone like Lilith or Ophelia or Diana or someone that converts the HP into attack. And yeah, you can basically see where I'm going with this. So I do believe that she will need a buffer, some kind of buffer that will trigger the buffs to the other teammates as well, and thus continuously creating something that is constantly buffing each other. Again, the word continuously is super annoying. They have never used this word in the game, yet it's here and it doesn't make any sense because God knows how it's coded to be continuously. Overall, the effect is amazing, really. Attack, defense, and max HP to everyone, 100% out of it, even from Lucifer. You can just simply buff all Lucifer and she will provide everything back to the team. And the buffs are going to get stronger and it will basically snowball itself. But as I said, the issue is simply not having enough clearance on how it works, how it's coded. So that's it for the main skills and the main passive skills. I do think they're great. I do think they're somewhat creative, but not really. It's like a middle ground. I think it could have been better, but I'm not going to complain about it until I test her. Obviously, if she's going to be bad, we are going to ask them to buff her because we don't want a bad hero in the game, even though it would kind of help the free-to-play player economy in terms of getting hell up and having availability to skip Lucifer. I don't think she's going to be skippable simply based off the text, and I do think that her 9 stars is basically enough for her to be viable. So let's move on to her old force. So Lucifer reduces allies' active skill cooldown by 2 rounds. After allies cast a skill, their skill multiplier is increased by 40%, stacking up to 20 times. In PvP and guild against guild modes, at the start of each round, Lucifer steals 10% of all enemies' current attack, defense, and bonus max HP, adding them to herself for the entire battle. So let's start off by section 1. Lucifer reduces allies' active skill cooldown by 2 rounds. After allies cast a skill, the skill multiplier is increased by 40%, stacking up to 20 times. As I mentioned, the ultimate usually is mentioned by ultimate in this game. The active skill is usually the second skill, so I'm very worried that this text is mainly made for the second skill. It's not for the ultimate, the first skill. And the second skill is really bad on majority of the heroes and is only really good on 1 or 2 heroes that I'm completely blanking about, and is quite good on Pandora because, well, her ultimate is basically both passive skill and the skill, so it's pretty good on Pandora obviously, but I'm not sure which hero I'm blanking on, but there's one hero that really enjoys getting their skill up. It will benefit someone like a Trupus as well or Cleopatra, so overall it could be decent, but if it's not active ultimate that gets reduced, nobody is going to care about it really, because nobody really cares about casting their second skill, but everybody cares about casting their ultimate skill. This has a lot of questions, a lot of answers that need to be done. A lot of studying basically has to be done with Lucifer. Nobody really knows how this is going to affect the battles. Reducing the active skill cooldown by 2 rounds is basically making them ult every round or every second round. So after allies cast their skill, the multiplier is increased by 40. Okay, this is basically Yorm's runes. We know that the Yorm's runes are broken. This is also going to be broken. It's just simple putting 1 and 1 together. As long as it increases the ultimate. If it increases the second skill, it's not going to be good. If it increases the ultimate, it's going to be good. Simply just same as Yorm. Yorm is great because she increases the ultimate damage of all allies. If this increases the ultimate damage, amazing. If not, pretty terrible. In PvP and GVG mode, so this is basically Tsuki but better, because it's not flat stats, it's basically 10% of all enemies' current stats, and she gets herself them for the entirety of the battle. This is really amazing for PvP. This is going to be great because, as we know it, her passive 2 is basically giving her stats to the entire team. So this is just a snowball, a really big snowball that's just coming at you and you can do anything about it. Overall, my rating for Lucifer, obviously she screams like S+ to S tier. We have to test her. There's a lot of unanswered mechanics that need to be tested, because if just one thing is wrong, it will be a disaster. So overall Lucifer rating, I do think she's going to be worth it, but obviously, as always, wait for the official review that I will do on her. Wait for the official skills that I test. I will pull her definitely up to 9 stars, maybe even higher. So simply stay patient and please don't summon to regret later. Thank you for watching, even though it was not really something amazing of a video, but if you have stayed all the time, thank you for watching and see you guys in the next one. I also forgot to mention, but her runes are absolutely crazy in my opinion, increasing the accuracy rate of all allies by 50% at legendary. Obviously you would purchase the epics and then evolve to legendary because it's far cheaper, unless you are swimming in money and you simply don't care. But purchasing her epics and then evolving would be the play. So increasing the accuracy rate is always insanely good in seasonal PvP because dodge was, or at least is still somewhat relevant. So just getting that extra 50% is going to be amazing. And then the United Strike passive effect enhances by 100%. The United Strike passive, as we mentioned, is when Lucifer is alive, she continuously provides the stats to the entire enemy team. 100% of the stats now goes up to 150%, I'm going to assume. I doubt it's going to be 200%, but nonetheless it's still going to be absolutely crazy good and absolutely insanely worthy. So I might get myself some epic runes and then evolve later, but I'm not really entirely sure if I will do that yet. So yeah, her runes absolutely worth it. She herself, just wait for the review. I personally don't want to suggest people to spend money on something or resources they have been saving for ages, just so it ends up being lackluster. So wait for my review and then decide for yourself. See ya.